Okay, so good morning to everyone. So let's start discussions of the today's topic. Now, today's topic, we will see about the leaky bucket algorithm. We will see today the leaky bucket algorithm. Now, we have already in the previous class, we have covered about what are the techniques, the different types of techniques to improve the quality of service. And for this, the techniques that is used for in the to improve the quality of service is the FIFO queuing, then our priority queuing, then weighted fair queuing. These uh, three types of we have used for improving the improve the quality of service. To improve the quality of service, we have used that two techniques to improve the quality of service. Now today we will see the quality of service traffic shaping. So we will see the quality of service traffic shaping. Now, what this means? Now, this is the mechanism. Now, traffic shaping, it is the mechanism to control the amount and the rate of traffic sent to the network. It is the mechanism to control the amount and the rate of the traffic that is sent to the network. That means the controlling the amount of traffic. Now, what the traffic means? Now, the traffic in network means the amount of packets. So, packets that is sending. So, flow of packets, or we can say the flow of data. That is known as the traffic in the network. So, controlling the amount of packet or the rate of packet, the rate in which the packets are coming to the network, to controlling that, we uses this traffic shaping technique. Now, for traffic shaping, we have two algorithms. For this, we have two algorithms. One is the leaky bucket, and another one is the token bucket. These two types of algorithms are present. Now, today we'll first see about the leaky bucket algorithm. Now, what this leaky bucket algorithm do? This algorithm shapes the busty traffic into the fixed rate traffic. Now, what the busty traffic means? Now, let's say if I take an example, let's say through a graph I will do, then you will understand it clearly. So let's say from 0 to 2 second, from 0 to 2 second, the data are coming with 10 Mbps speed. The data that is coming with 10 Mbps speed. And after that, there is no data coming. And let's say after 7 seconds, the data again started coming and it goes up to 10 seconds with 3 Mbps speed. With 3 Mbps speed. Sorry, it will be 3 Mbps speed. So let's say from 0 to 2 seconds, the data came at the rate of 12 Mbps speed, and after that no data came, and again in the from 7 second the data came, from 7 to 10 second the data came at the rate of 3 Mbps speed. So that means if you observe it, that here you see that the data in this time is in the 12 Mbps speed, but from 7 to 10 it is 3 Mbps speed. That means the drastical change of data. Here the data is coming in this speed, and after that time there is no data coming. Then again the data is coming with 3 Mbps speed. So that means drastical change. This drastical changing of data, this is known as the bursty traffic. This is the known as the bursty traffic. That means here you can see drastical changes. The amount of rate the data is coming, its drastical changing is occurring. So that's why it is called the bursty traffic. Now, this converting this bursty traffic into the fixed rate traffic. That means fixed rate traffic means, let's say from 0 to 10, from 0 to 10, the data will came, from 0 to 10, the data will came in a same speed. So let's say 3 Mbps speed, 3 Mbps speed, the data will came. That means you see the equal fixed rate. So from 0 to 2 second, 10 seconds. So from 0 to 10 second, the data is coming with the rate of 3 Mbps speed, means same rate. So this is known as the our fixed rate traffic. So converting this, leaky bucket algorithm does what? Converting this bursty traffic, into the fixed rate traffic by averaging the data rate. This is known as the leaky bucket algorithm. Now, how this name came? How this leaky bucket name came here? Now, from name suggest, if we observe that, you see, I have used a diagram that in this a tap is given, and from this tap this tap is open, and from the tap the water is continuously flowing. The water is continuously flowing from the open tap, and under the tap there is a bucket present. In this bucket is placed under the tap, and the water that is continuously going, continuously pouring into the bucket. Now in this bucket there is a leak, that's why it is named as the leaky bucket. Now in this bucket there is a leak, so that means the water that is pouring here, the water that is going down, it is continuous flow of water. So we can say this is the burst flow of water, that is coming from the tap, and it is dropping continuously. This water is dropping continuously. Now to control this, suppose we have a bucket in the below, there is a bucket. Now that bucket has a hole. Now what it will do? The water will pour here, the water will come. Now here is the hole present. So that means from this hole the water will go out. But this bucket has also a capacity. That means after the capacity is full, the water will be splashes out from the bucket. Means the bucket has the capacity, and after the capacity reaches out, then the water will be flow out from the bucket. The water will go out from the bucket. Now we say that the water that is going out, we say that the discarded dropping of water, discarded drops of water. We say that the water that is coming out, that is the discarded drops of water. And the water that is going out from the hole, this hole, from the hole, the water that is going out are one drop like that, it is going out. That means first one drop, then next one drop, like this, one drop, the water is coming out. So we can say this as the fixed flow of water, because one drop like this. So that means fixed flow of water. But the water that is pouring in the bucket, it is a continuous flow, it is a continuously flowing. So that means bursty flow. So this is the concept of the leaky bucket. Now how it is related to the networking? Now this concept we can use in the networking also. In case of tap, in this tap which we have diagrammed here, in case of tap, if we used a host or the computer here, and from here, instead of the water that is going out, instead of the water that is continuously flowing, instead of that, if we use the packets here, if we uses the packet, that means from the system the packets are what? The packets are transferring. And in case of bucket, if we place a queue here, that means the packets are coming from the host to queue. Now queue has what? Queue has a capacity that if the packet capacity is, the queue is full, then the here it is case of what? If it is full, then the discarded drop of water, that means the water is discarded out from here. And in this case the queue is full, that means the packets will discarded. And here also, instead of this, the fixed rate, what? There is the leaky bucket algorithm used, and the our for fetching from that, from leaky bucket, from queue, the packets are fetched by the processor, and from processor the packets are fetched and processor process it and departed this packets here. So instead, this concept, this leaky bucket concept, if we use in the networking, in the real life networking, it's look like this. Instead of tap, you use the host machine, and instead of this water continuously flowing, we use the packets here, and the packets that is going to the queue. If the queue is full, then like discarded drop of waters, the packets will be discarded, and after that, from queue, the packets will be chosen by the processor one by one according to the leaky bucket algorithm. It will working to fetch the packets from the queue at a constant rate, and after the processor process it, it will be departed. So this is the concept of the leaky bucket algorithm. Okay, so this is the concept of our leaky bucket algorithm. It is clear?
Yes, sir.
It is. So this concept, that's why that this concept is applicable for networking also. But this concept came from here. That's why its name is given as the leaky bucket algorithm, because this concept is defined from this real life exposure, this concept of the networking we have done. So this concept we say, and this algorithm is known as for that leaky bucket algorithm. So this is the diagram you see. This is the diagram what I am telling about, that the packets are arrived, and if the queue is full, then the packet will be discarded, and if it is not full, then the packets are added into the queue one by one. And after that, there is a leaky bucket algorithm works here. It working is to fetch the packets from queue at a constant rate. So that means if it is saying that first one packets will be processed by the processor, the next packet will be processed by the processor, that means there is the fixed or the constant rate. So one by one the packets will be processed. This is the constant rate. So processor will process it and the packet will be departure. So this is the concept of the leaky bucket algorithm. Now here also, one thing you should know, that here, that the example I have taken in here, that time I'm showing for the busty traffic and the fixed rate traffic. In that case, I am showing about, you see, from 0 to 2 seconds, the data is at the 12 Mbps speed. The data is coming at a 12 Mbps speed. And from 7 to 10 seconds, the data is coming with a 2 Mbps speed. Now here you see from 2 to 7, no data is arrived, or the no data is going up, arrived here. So that means here drastical changes of data. That is why it is the bursty traffic. Now this bursty traffic, whenever comes, now leaky bucket algorithm will do what? In this leaky bucket algorithm, some, let's say some some constant, some what we can say, some working have been principle in this leaky bucket algorithm. Let's say in this leaky bucket algorithm, it is saying that the data that going out, the data that will be processed with the 3 Mbps speed, the data will be processed with the 3 Mbps speed. So that's why leaky bucket algorithm have some properties given that the data should be out with the 3 Mbps speed. So that means it will convert this, and it will become from 0 to 2 second, 10 second, 3 Mbps speed. Now why 0 to 10 second? Now here also something we can say that it is doing what? Now when we are changing it, when the data is going out through leaky bucket algorithm, it is fixed rate. But one thing we have in mind, that in bursty traffic also, the amount of data present, same amount of data will also be present in the fixed rate traffic. Same amount of data should be present, no changes in data. That means if you see from 0 to 2 second, it is of the 12 Mbps speed. So means 12 into 2, if we say 12 into 2, that it will go as the, if we 12 into 2, it will produce 24 mbits of data. 24 M bits of data. Same as that. That means this 2 second, the data is coming with 12 Mbps speed. So that means 12 into 2, 24 M bits of data. Same as that from 7 to 10, that means 3 unit. So in this 3 second, the data is going with a 10 Mbps, 2 Mbps speed. So that means 3 into 2, it will be 3 into 2, and it will be 6. So that means the total data is what? The total data is 30 M bits. So that means Basti traffic has the 30 M bits. Basti traffic has the amount of data 30 M bits. Now leaky bucket algorithm does what? It converts this Basti traffic into the constant rate traffic, but it doesn't change the amount of data. The amount of data should be same. So that means it has to be here 30 M bits data should be present in the constant rate traffic also. So in that case, it will do what? From 0 to 10 second, this 3 Mbps speed data will go out, and that means 10 into 3, 30 M bits. So that means here if we see 0 to 10, so that means 10 into 3, total 30 M bits data. You see the amount of data is same. The amount of data doesn't changes. Only the shape of the traffic changes. That means from Basti to constant rate. It changes from Basti to constant rate. Here also you see that is 30 Mbits data is present. So that means the amount of data is not changed. The amount of data is same as the Basti traffic. The Basti traffic, the amount of data present, same data is present in the leaky bucket. After doing the leaky bucket using leaky bucket algorithm, the constant rate flow we have achieved. Here also that 30 Mbits data is also present, but only what? The shape is changed. So this is the way from converting Basti traffic to the constant rate traffic. We uses the leaky bucket algorithm. But this leaky bucket algorithm has also a disadvantage. Now, what is the disadvantage? Now, I am saying always that when the data will go outside from the network, it will go outside with the constant rate. So this is the our disadvantage. This is the disadvantage, that the data that is going out with a constant rate from the network. This is the disadvantage. Now, these are solved. These are solved in the token bucket algorithm. So using the token bucket algorithm, this problem we can solve it there. Okay. So this is all about the leaky bucket algorithm. Clear to everyone? It is clear, leaky bucket algorithm?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in the next class, I will show about the concept of the token bucket algorithm. Now, today I will want to share with one thing that we have already studied the OSPF concept. We have already opened OSPF concept about, we have in the previous classes, we have also already seen that. So today I will not explain the token bucket algorithm. I will show you using the OSPF, open shortest path fast. So OSPF. So through OSPF, now in this Cisco packet tracer, so I have already explained your theoretical part, but how using the OSPF we will done it into the real life. In the real life, how through in the Cisco packet tracer, how it we can do this, I will show you today. So in the next class, I will today now till from now I will show you the implementation of the OSPF, and in the next class I will discuss about the our token bucket algorithm in the next class. So now we will we will show you the open shortest path fast OSPF concept and how it can be implemented in our Cisco packet tracer. I will show you that. So first, before going to this, we will let's revise some of the OSPF concept, the OSPF concept which we used here. So before starting that, the OSPF concept, we first discussed about that some OSPF concept about that the OSPF already know that it is the routing protocol. We already know that, and it is also a standard protocol. OSPF is the standard protocol. Now, standard protocol means what? Standard protocols means it will work in the different standard protocols means it will work in the different vendor routers. That means only OSPF is not applicable for, we can say that this OSPF is only applicable for Cisco, but it will not work in the other vendor routers. It is not like that. It will work other than Cisco packet tracer also, it will work. That is the Juniper, then etc. router, it will be work there. And it is designed as an interior gateway protocol. So I have already discussed about that. What is the interior gateway protocol and what is the interior exterior gateway protocol? Interior gateway protocol means there will be autonomous system present, and in this autonomous system, our routers should be present and they will communicate with each other. That means we'll use inside the autonomous system. So using this inside the autonomous system, that's why we say OSPF is the interior gateway protocol. We say that. And it is also a link state protocol. So this is already you have know that, and uses the link state routing algorithm. It uses the link state routing algorithm, and it has the administrative distance. Now this administrative distance is the default. Defaultly, it is given the distance for OSPF is 110. This is the default. Default it is given, and it is the classless routing protocol. It is the classless routing protocols means it supports the subnetting and supports authentication. If you remember when I have discussed about the OSPF, in that time I have on the OSPF packet format, there is the 32 bits field for authentication. 32 bits field for the authentication. So that's why OSPF supports the authentication. So OSPF also supports the authentication here. And OSPF send hello packet every 10 seconds. So if you remember, OSPF have 5 packets, and the first packet that sent is the hello packet. Now why this hello packet is sent? When we this OSPF using this, when it wants to communicate with the neighbor router, when it's wants to communicate with the neighbor router, then it sends hello packet before starting the communication, or before starting the communication it sends the hello packet. So this is the thing that OSPF sends the hello packet every 10 seconds. So before creating the connection, hello packet is sent. If you remember that I have discussed all this, I have already discussed that the 5 packets that are used. So hello packet is the first packet, because before creating the connection, it send the hello packet here. And after that, send only updates, not the entire routing table. Now here is one thing here, it sends updates. It sends the updates, not the entire routing table. But in routing information protocol, it sends routing tables. Routing information protocol, it sends the routing tables. Sends only routing tables here. But in the OSPF concept, if you see in the OSPF, it's only sends the updates. That means not entire routing table is needed to it not share the entire routing table. Only the update is sent here, and the updates are sent with the multicast address. Now the multicast address is like 224.0.0.5. Like this multicast address, it sends the updates here, and it uses a path cost as its basic routing metric, and it supports the CIDR addressing mode. So this is some basic concepts. Now for OSPF configuration, there is some command is present. So today I will show you that So one by one, I will show you the comments. So I will request to everyone that those open the Cisco Packet Tracer software, so that I will from when I will show the demonstration, you can also practice it. So I will say that you open your Cisco Packet Tracer. Okay. So open your Cisco Packet Tracer software. So when I will demonstrate with me, you can do also. So we will start the demonstration. So we will open the screen sharing. Wait for some time because it is opening. Okay. So let's start. Now here also for using the OSPF, let's say if we will use the OSPF commands here. Now for this, let's say I will choose the system. First, let's say I have taken a PC here. So I have taken a system of PC here, and here also I have taken a laptop. Okay, and another, so let's say another laptop here and a server. Okay, so a new thing you see today, I will take a server here. Okay, so this is like we have taken the systems. Now this is how I have taken a system. Now from here I will choose a switch. So let's say the last switch I will choose. I am choosing the last switch. Here also a switch present. So I have chosen switch here. And from here, I have chosen two routers. Let's say two routers I have chosen. Okay. Now the routers are chosen. We will make the connections one by one. We'll make the connections here. So let's say we are making the connection. The connection is made. Then this connection we make here. This connection is made here. After that, this connections. Okay. Then again, we are doing making this connection. After that, these two connections, and we are making the connection between these two routers. So now we will start what? We will start our assigning the IP address. So we will start assigning the IP address. Let's say this is 192.168.1.2 I have given. Now this is only the renaming. So that means we have to go inside and configure this IP address. The subnet mask will automatically chosen, and the gateway is 1. Same as that for this system also, we will assign first rename the IP address we are giving, then go inside, and from IP configuration we will configure the IP here. Okay, so I configured this IP here. Now I have already used the default gateway address and the configuration of IP here. So let's say I am saying that the default gateway 192.168.1.1. This is our this port routers this port, because this is the default gateway address. And default gateway address means this is the IP address of the port of the router. So this is the IP address. The default gateway address is the IP address of the this port of the router. Okay, same as that here also we will first rename it. So let's say I am giving the name 168.2.2. Okay, then I will copy it, configure that, and I am giving the configuration like this 2.1. And this server, for this server I will go inside and configure it. Okay, so both this we already given. Same as that here also the default gateway address is 192.168.2.1. So that means in this port will contain the default gateway address .2.1. Okay, now we are giving another, this router has two ports. This is a port and this is another port. These two ports are present. So in this port also we have to give some IP address. So let's say I am giving 200.1.1, and in this port IP address, this is another port also for this router. So we are giving 200.1.1.2. This is the IP address we are giving. Okay, so we have already configured the IP address now. Already we have configured the IP address, but now what we have to do? We have to assign this IP address. We are only saying that this IP address is present on this port and this IP address is present on this port. But we have to do what? We have to configure. We have to configure this IP addresses into the router. Otherwise, we will not able to do that. So we will configure it now. So we will go inside the router. So after going inside the router, we have to configure this IP addresses into this port and this IP addresses in this port. This IP addresses in this port and this IP addresses in this port. So like that we have to configure. Okay, so let start. So we will open the notepad and I will write the comments into the notepad. I will write the comments into the notepad. So I open this notepad and here I will write the comments. So what are the comments we will write? Now, you know, first command we will write as the en, because this en will enable from user mode to the privilege mode. This will enable from user mode to the privilege mode. After that, we will use config t. After that, we will use the config t command. Now, config t is used for what? Config t is used for privilege mode to the configuration mode. So if we have to configure anything, we have to go inside the configuration mode. So we have to write this command config t. Now after that, what we have to do? We have to assign the IP address. Now first assigning the IP address, I have to see the port that is present. I have to see that first. What is the port? Now this is the port F0 by 0. This is the port F0 by 0. In this port, we are saying this IP address we are assigning here in this port. In this port, we are assigning this IP address. So int F0 by 0. This is the port, and this port we are assigning this IP address. So that means IP add 192.168.1.1. Okay, and then 255.255.255.0. This is the subnet mask. This is the subnet mask. So, and after that we have to use no sh command for no shutdown, or we can say to up the port we should use this command. Now this is this IP address is assigned to this port. Same as that, this IP address also have to be assigned in this port. So same way we should assign this. Same way we should assign this here. Same way we will assign this. It will be, what is the our this port configuration F0 by 1, and it is 200.1.1.1. Okay, so here now we have done our configuration of the first router. So we will copy it and open to the CLI and go inside, and I will paste it. Okay, so after that, what we have to do? We have to use the end command. After end command, we have to use a command show.